This video is not made for children. The content is aimed at adult viewers only. If you are aged 13 or under, please leave now. Hello everyone, this is Marco and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be showing you how I fixed my 1993 Jurassic Park Kenner Big Red Rex. In this video I'll be using the following products. Links are in the description. Milliput has kindly provided these products for me to use in this video. It is a company based in the UK and produces this amazing epoxy putty that can be used for virtually anything. It's easy to use and easy to sculpt. It is waterproof and sets rock solid. It also comes in many different colors. If you want to learn more about this product, be sure to visit their website. I always make sure I paint my figures with ARTEZA's water-based, scuff-resistant, self-healing, indoor and outdoor use non-toxic premium acrylic paints. Honestly guys, the quality of this paint is really good, so I suggest you check the links in the description to find out more and order some for yourself. I'll be using sculpting tools, paintbrushes, lots of super glue, tons of time and lots of patience, and a glass of water. Now we're all set, we can start this project. Back in 1993, Kenner released this beautiful masterpiece of a dinosaur toy. But throughout time, these toys eventually start decaying, breaking, or getting damaged by countless hours of playing. I found this one in particular on eBay. I got it for a really good deal, but it was missing a few teeth, an arm, and the sound effects were a bit funny. When the battery was inserted, the dinosaur kept roaring all the time. That is a common issue with this figure. Also, the tail is bent. Well, that was because back in the day when they were sold, they were packaged inside a box that was a little bit too small. So unfortunately, every single model came with that kink in its tail. If you own one, you know exactly what I mean. When you would squeeze the torso, the roaring sound effects would activate and the jaw would chomp down. It's also very common that the action features stop working. This is exactly the problem with my figure, and I will do my best to try and fix everything as best as I can. If you've got your own Big Red Rex and you want to fix it, you can use this video as a guide. Now let's stop for a moment and appreciate the sculpt of this figure. It was completely sculpted by an amazing artist employed by Kenner to recreate the Jurassic Park T-Rex, and he based, very faithfully I might add, his sculpt on an original Stan Winston maquette, resulting in an incredibly realistic sculpt. Unfortunately, as much as I hate to say this, this model isn't perfect. In fact, the sculpt around the mouth isn't entirely accurate to what we see in the film. Also, Stan Winston and his crew created their maquettes in a T-pose, so the visual effects artists would be able to scan the sculpt into the computer, which means that Kenner's artist copied the pose exactly. So we ended up with a T-pose T-Rex toy. Anyway, enough babbling now and let's get fixing, shall we? So first of all, we're gonna try and get rid of the kink from the tail. Now this is a very quick and easy fix. All you have to do is put the tail under some warm running hot water and massage the kink away. The heat will soften the rubber, which means you can reshape the tail straight again. And as you can see, this method has worked really well on my Big Red Rex. So the next step is to fix the inside of the T-Rex. What we'll need is a scalpel, and we have to be very careful because it's going to be really sharp. You don't want to end up cutting yourself or cutting too deep into the T-Rex. So we'll be running the scalpel down this seam line. It is very important you don't press too hard because there is a lip inside, which allows the two parts to glue together. You'll know what I mean once I have opened it up. So just be very, very gentle and cautiously pull apart the parts. And that is the lip that I was talking about. As you can see, the skin overlaps onto that lip. By not cutting straight through it, it'll help us put the T-Rex back together again. Now we can start separating the two parts. You can roll the front part of the T-Rex's skin like a sock, revealing the casing of the electronics. That bit of plastic continues down into the legs. But first of all, we need to unscrew this screw right here. Don't pull apart yet because these cables need to come out of the battery socket. It's fairly easy, all you have to do is just wiggle it around until it comes out. Like so. Make sure you pull very gently. We don't want to damage anything in here. So the inside of the Red Rex is filled with this polyester wadding or stuffing, which is the same stuff that you find inside soft cuddly toys or pillows. Now the stuffing inside this toy throughout the years has compressed a bit, so I'm gonna add a bit more just to bulk it up a bit. Now the end result is lovely. It feels nice and solid, robust, and it's also got a bendy wire in it. The polyester stuffing really does help the bendy wire to actually bend properly, and you can pose the T-Rex's tail to your liking. Now let's take a look at the front part. Keep rolling the skin inside out, like so. Kenner has put this polyester stuffing inside that baggie so it wouldn't go all over the place when you play with the figure pressing the chest. Speaking about pressing the chest, this mechanism here is what activates the chomping action and the sound effects. So what we want to do is open up this chamber and take a look inside. First of all, I'm gonna attempt to explain how the chomping action feature actually works. Now this is very fascinating. It kind of works a bit like a bicycle brake. It's all to do with this cable pulling a mechanism inside the head that would close its mouth. Now what we press in the chest activates a series of pulleys that would pull onto that cable. That hole under there is the speaker. That's where the sound comes from. So right now I don't have a battery installed, so if I press the button, the sound effects won't work. Now it is a very common problem for this Red Rex to have the cable actually snap throughout time. Luckily mine isn't broken, but if yours is, you can replace that part of the cable. So after unscrewing all of the screws, we can open up this plastic casing. It is still joined at the top, so all you have to do is just slide it back a bit and then pull up. Now what we see here is the button that we press. Pressing that button moves this black piece of plastic, which has a metal part connected to a cable. What we want to do is disconnect that right now. So the cable connects to that bit of metal on the black piece of plastic. And when the piece of plastic moves forward, it completes the circuit by touching that other bit of metal right there. And when it completes the circuit, the sound effects would start. The black piece of plastic is connected to the cable that goes into the head. So when we press the button, the black piece of plastic moves forward, completing the circuit and also pulling the cable that is connected to the head, which activates the chomping action. I hope that was clear. So in my case, the cable has become a little bit loose. So what we're gonna do is tighten it up by creating this knot right here, and it should create more tension than before, which would definitely help the jaw to move a little bit. So when we insert the cable back into the hole, we have to make sure to pull it up enough so that the knot goes into place. I'm not expecting it to work perfectly because obviously this toy is quite old, it's almost 30 years old. But the stomping sound effects are triggered by that loose spring. So it's a spring that is only connected on one side and it wobbles about. It is connected to the circuit itself. Beside that spring is a metal plate, which is connected to the circuit. So when you stomp your figure on the ground, the spring would move and wobble and touch the metal plate, completing the circuit and activating the stomping sound effect. Isn't that genius? So back in the day when the toy was new, the pulling mechanism was quite smooth. With age, the smoothness decreased. So we're going to give it a helping hand by adding this spring right here, which pushes back the piece of black plastic into its original position. By gluing it in, the mechanism isn't relying only on the cable pulling it back. And there we go. All we have to do now is connect the cable back to the black piece of plastic, put the button back in, and screw the casing back together. I'm also going to add more stuffing in the head and the neck to make it feel a bit more robust. When all the parts are together, you can glue the seams back together. I use super glue. It works just fine. And that's it. All the inside parts of the Red Rex are now fixed. I must say this toy now feels so much better with the extra stuffing. And now it's time to test it out. And yes, it works. The chomping action isn't as smooth, but it works. I love those sound effects. So now what's missing is just the arm and the teeth, and that is quite a quick fix. I know that Ted Brothers sell individual replacement arms that you can just click back into place. I highly suggest you do that, but I decided I want to sculpt a new arm because I just love sculpting. First of all, we need to make a little armature, and then I'm just going to sculpt the arm with Milliput, which is an amazing epoxy putty. If you follow my channel, you know exactly what it is. If you want to buy it, I have the links in the description. Oh, by the way, I highly suggest you go and visit Ted Brothers' YouTube channel. They make some awesome stuff there, including some awesome dinosaur toy repaints. Anyway, what I'm doing now is I'm adding the detail with a toothpick. Obviously, I'm using lots of pictures for reference to try and get it as close to the real thing as possible. I'm also using some water and a paintbrush to smooth out and soften the details a little bit. I'll let you enjoy the sculpting bit. But first, I want to tell you that we are going to pressure fit this arm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sculpt a little peg at the base of the arm. And once pushed into the socket, it will be able to swivel around just like the other arm. Think of it as one of those pivot pieces in Lego sets, the ones that join wheels to the bricks. Anyway, you'll see what I mean in just a little while, but first enjoy me finishing the sculpt. I fixed the teeth with Milliput too. It's pretty straightforward and you can use the rest of the teeth as reference. Now this is the arm with the peg part that I told you about. So once it's pushed in, it should lock into place. But now it is the painting stage, and I color matched using ARTEZA paints. And when it's dry, I just gave it a satin finish. And that's it. All you have to do is just pop it back in and the figure is done. Goodness knows how long this figure has been without an arm. This T-Rex went from being an old broken toy to a beautiful working collector's piece. And by looking at it, you could never tell that it was originally missing an arm and teeth. I don't know about you guys, but I am really satisfied with how this figure came out. Make sure to check out my other videos on my channel to see more content like this. Hey, you can also buy my figures and my paintings, as well as some sick merch on Etsy. Yes, I have an Etsy shop and the link is in the description. I would like to give a massive thank you to all of my Patreons. Seriously guys, your support really does mean the world to me, as it helps me do what I love for you. You help me buy materials, and most of all, you give me a helping hand with improving the quality of the content of my videos. Even if it's just a small donation, every little helps. If you like my videos, please press the like button. And you could consider subscribing. It's free. Oh, and don't forget to press the notification bell button, because you don't want to miss any of my new stuff, right? I'm gonna say bye now, because when you gotta go, you gotta go. I will see you in the next one.